recess in the ring. We pass the fields of grazing grain. We pass the setting sun. And this, to me, it almost makes it seem stranger because we're seeing real places. We pass the school, the children, recess and the ring. It's almost picturesque. It's almost making us visualize this, and it's pleasant. The fields of gazing grain. It's almost pleasant, isn't it? And here, how's the anaphora being used? We passed, we passed, we passed. It gives it a lot of movement, doesn't it? It makes this stanza very active before the last, which is the setting sun, which is, it's using alliteration to make that very calm. Little sun there. So we've got this quite active beginning. We passed, we passed, we passed. Anaphora being used to make that very active. And then we've got setting sun, which is calm, collected, and, could be seen as a little bit sad or just calmer, I guess. And then it would seem in stanza 4. Are we on stanza 4? Yeah. Or rather, he passed us. So then we've got the sun being personified, the setting sun. He passed us. And then it's nighttime very quickly. The dews drew quivering and chill. Dew is, what's on the grass in the morning when it's been cold, and then there's like moisture on the grass and on the things. So then all of a sudden it's nighttime, the sun's passed, and there's dew on the ground, and she is only in her nightgown, which is thin. It's supposed to be, a tippet is like a shawl, but tulle is a very thin, not to be worn outside. So she's caught off guard in the nighttime. This also links back to the first stanza, because the fact she's only in this thin nightgown, she wasn't prepared for this, and she couldn't stop for death. Death stopped for her. So that links back to that first stanza of she wasn't prepared, but also she's only now feeling that. So it could be a bit sixth sense, maybe now she's really she's feeling the cold, she's realizing that she's dying maybe. And then, I don't know if you would get this, but we paused a house that seemed a swelling in the ground. The roof was scarcely visible, the corniche in the ground. The corniche is like an elaborate lamp, almost like a mini chandelier that would hang from the ceiling, but the ceiling's in the ground. So we get this idea that this is a grave, and the swelling in the ground could be, it's a grave, but a grave that's already been filled over, so the earth is still overturned, and you can see like a mound of earth as if the coffin's been put in and then it's been covered over. So almost like she's looking at her own grave. And then we've got the final stanza, which is, wait a minute, since then, 'tis centuries. So the speaker died centuries ago, and yet feels shorter than the day that I first surmised, is like you first realized, you've made an assumption, that the horse's head, the horse drawing the carriage, was pointing towards eternity. The horse's head was towards eternity. Okay? So we get this idea that the speaker's been dead for years. So what you need to do now is really look at the form and the meter. And what I mean by that is, how does the poem sound? Okay? Because a poem's supposed to be read. Okay, so maybe you can listen back to when I read it to you, but you need to think about how are these hyphens and the line breaks, what sort of rhythm are they creating? okay? And why? Okay, why is that rhythm being created? What's it representing? Try and link it to the imagery in the poem.